What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader coming back to you with another vintage Kenner Star Wars loose graded market update. I've got UKG, CAS, and AFA items, some of them for the exact same character in similar grades, so you can kind of see how the prices compare. And Size from this thumbnail, wow, he continues to go up in price. It's amazing how expensive he has become. I also need to do my Dr. Evil. 1 million views. I just crossed that the other day, and I certainly don't do shorts or things like that much. So to get 1 million views on these kind of long form videos where basically all I do is summarize eBay prices, it's pretty incredible, and I need to thank everybody. And quite honestly, I wouldn't be putting out daily videos if it's not for my Patreon supporters. They make this channel what it is today. I feel like I owe it to my Patreon supporters to provide as much data and as much video content as possible because they support the channel. That's just how I feel about it. I don't always put out a daily video, but I'm pretty darn close. And I just want to say thanks to everyone who watches my stupid videos. 1 million views is pretty crazy to me. So, all right, let's dig in. I think I've talked enough. Here's an AFA 85 pop-up Saber R2-D2 old case style. Last 17, but it is an AFA 85. So I was kind of curious to see where this one would end up, given that loose, near minty, I hate that word, ungraded examples can go for, let's call it 650 on the very low end to probably more like 750 to 800 for a loose, complete, really nice condition pop-up R2-D2. And this one was an AFA 85, admittedly an older case style, but it sold over in the UK for 640 pounds, which is $807. Now, to me, that's a really good deal, just given that AFA 85s in a new case style would probably set you back $1,300 or so. It's a strategy we've talked about in past videos where you could buy a few of these older case styles, wait for AFA to open back up, whenever that may be. It could be 2 years from now. Send some of these back in to get recased with the new case, and I think that you could build some equity on some of those. So 807 seems like a good deal for an AFA 85 pop-up R2-D2. This was another one I thought was a really good deal. This was an 85 plus archival case, Droids C-3PO new case style. Now, I remember one going earlier this year for over $1,000. If it wasn't over $1,000, it was darn close. It was like $980, something like that. And I had nothing to base it on other than my memory. So my memory can be spotty, as you guys know. But this was an 85 plus, and it was listed for $850, which actually I thought was a pretty good deal as it was. And the best offer that was accepted on that was $800. So even these kind of very desirable, harder to find, and very high grade variants are coming down in price a little bit. Not all of them, but this is one that definitely, easily close to $1,000 6 to 9 months ago. So for an 85 plus, which is tough to get it for 800, good deal there. Size from, all right, we talked about that at the very beginning of the video. This was an AFA 85 from Brian's Toys, and I found several loose, ungraded examples that sold for over $800. It used to be, even 6 months ago, it was more like $600. So Size from, despite the slowdown, generally speaking, in the collectibles market for Star Wars, Size from is going the other way. So is Tig from. They are both getting more and more expensive despite the changing market. So this one was listed for $1,500. Again, it's an AFA 85. The best offer that was accepted on that was $1,250. So it used to be last year you could get $1,250 buys you a mint on card Size from. Maybe not in the most perfect condition, but now loose graded AFA 85s go for $1,250, which is just mind boggling to me. Next up, I've got a couple of different Luke Skywalker battle ponchos, last 17s that sold. One of them was an AFA 85, and then admittedly old case style, versus a CAS 85 plus, which they never really had a quote-unquote old case style other than maybe the pegs that were holding them in. But I do think it was kind of an interesting comparison. Me personally, I consider to be a CAS 85 plus to be pretty equal to an AFA 85. And now, again, this was the older case style. This one didn't even have the dowels around the neck. So this is the earliest of the very early cases that AFA used to use. These figures can kind of jostle around inside. So easily the less desirable of the three kind of major cases that AFA's put out. That one sold for 205 pounds, which is about $259. AFA 85. And then here was the CAS 85 Plus, freshly graded, brand new case style. That one sold for $292. So about, let's call that what? About, $40 more. And, to me, what the market is saying is that they probably do equal in terms of an 85 AFA versus an 85 plus CAS. They seem to be valuing it about equally because, you could buy this and then send it back in for whatever the price is going to be recased, reholdered, $45 or so. And that gets you to about what this one is, a CAS 85 plus new case style. And CAS's cases are really nice. I mean, I really like them. And I just did a live stream with the guys over at 5 Idiots Talking Toys. I'm sure it's either already aired or it's going to air. And we talked about the cases. Me personally, I still think UKG makes the best cases. AFA and CAS are probably about equal, I guess. I don't know. But this one presents really nicely. I mean, this is a very, very nice case for the Luke. So, pick and choose your battles. But, like the CAS Luke Farm Boys, where they still have the saber in the hand, I hate that. That should be done away with. They should take that case style, crumble it into a little ball, and then set it on fire. They need to have an etched accessory case for all sabers. And I think it's high time that CAS listens to me. Get rid of grading the figures with the saber inside the hand. Not acceptable in the current market environment, in my opinion. All right, I'm off my soapbox now. So next up, the same seller had a CAS 90 Barada. That one sold for $226.50. Now, an AFA 85 usually goes $225 to $250. So they didn't really give much of a premium for the 90 grade for CAS versus like an AFA 90. An AFA 90 would probably set you back $350 to $400 easily, if not higher. So I did think it's interesting how the Luke was pretty comparable, but the Barada in a 90 grade, it really wasn't. So it was more comparable to an AFA 85. Next up, a little bit lower grade, but this is a CAS 75 Droid Factory. Good bargain value here, $178. I mean, we documented some in my loose complete market updates where they're ungraded in similar or worse condition that have sold for that price. So I think that one fell under the radar just a little bit. I'd take a 75 grade, Droids Factory R2-D2 for $178, free shipping. I mean, it's not perfect, obviously. I mean, you can see the discoloration to the sticker, but I've seen worse ones. I've seen worse ones go, that were ungraded sell for this price. So to me, that was a bargain. That was a really good price. And I do like how AFA displays the Droid Factory R2s, and really all the droids for the most part. AFA needs to learn from CAS on how to display the droids. Because, my AFA 85 R5D4 came back with, like, the legs kind of splayed out because AFA is just moronic. They cannot display R2D2 or R5D4 correctly. They just can't do it. They got to work on those cases over at AFA. I'm an equal opportunity offender. I offend CAS and I offend AFA where warranted. And in this case, I think CAS's case, no pun intended, for the droids is better than AFA. I still think UKG has the best cases, period. But anyway, next up was a Lily Letty Biker Scout CAS 85. That one sold for $309, probably about right. This one kind of sat for a little while. I was surprised. I think I sent this one out to my Patreon supporters in a buy it now alert, and nobody picked it up. And then it sold maybe 2 or 3 days later. But it's a Lily Letty Biker Scout, and I think this is every bit of an 85. I mean, that's a beautiful example. No yellowing, no scratches on the hands. This is all just reflections right here. That's a nice looking figure, and to me, 309 is probably about right. Next up was a First 12 R2-D2 Solid Dome CAS 85. That one, excuse me, I just ate dinner. That one was listed for $300. The best offer accepted on that was $250. Again, I think that's a really great price when you think about an AFA 85 for the First 12 Solid Dome R2-D2. I mean, we can see some crazy prices even in the current environment. So to me, that's a pretty good price for a freshly graded Hong Kong R2D2 CAS 85. Now, is an 85 CAS equal to an AFA 85? No, I consider it more like an 80 plus for AFA. But I mean, looking at that figure, that looks, I mean, I find it hard to believe that this wouldn't grade. I think the scuff on the sticker right there, and maybe a little scuff right there, that might prevent it from getting the 85 with AFA. Quite honestly, I mean, that's how picky AFA is on the stickers. So it would probably get an 80 plus, would be my guess. I've seen a few AFA 85s that have this similar problems with the sticker. And, you know, I've heard from a lot of you lately that, hey, do you really think AFA grades the most strict? Yeah, I kind of do. I mean, there's always going to be one-off type situations where an AFA item is undergraded or overgraded and vice versa for CAS. Usually with CAS, I consider them overgraded. UKG, definitely. There's definitely some overgrading that goes on there too. So nobody's perfect. I'm not trying to say one of them is, because none of them are perfect. They all have their pluses and minuses. I certainly still use CAS for a lot of my baggies and things like that because their baggie cases are the best. But, I mean, to me, this is pretty close to an 85 if you set it to AFA. It might get the 80 plus because of those scuffs, but I mean, that's a nice looking figure, man. I mean, that sticker is pretty bright white. And for $250, that's a bargain. To me, I'd rather pay $250 for a CAS 85 Solid Dome R2D2 versus $600 for an AFA 85. And, you know, again, that's just my personal opinion. I'm not spending 3 times the money for an AFA 85 when I can get a very presentable, very nice on my shelf CAS 85 for $250 like this one went for. That's a good deal. This seller had a couple of really good deals. This is a PBP Darth Vader, so Spanish Darth Vader, admittedly old K style, but it's sold for 85 pounds, which is $107 US. UKG 85% Spanish PBP Vader. That's a bargain. That's a really good deal. I mean, I see him sell for that all day long, ungraded. Next up, they also had a Spanish PBP Pink Face Han Solo. That one was, again, an old K style. That sold for $117. I mean, those are good deals right there. I mean, we just documented one on the channel. Same figure, same grade, new K style that sold for about $171 US. So, you know, to me, I'd spend the extra 50 or 60 bucks and get the new K style. But that's a good deal, though. I mean, for a nice Spanish figure like that. All right, now we're going to dig into a baggie extravaganza. Everything else I've got for you is baggies. It's crazy. There were so many baggies that have sold over the last couple of days, and I was so tempted to bid on a couple of these. Here's the SWB baggie for Vader, AFA 80. Look how crappy the casing is for these baggies. I just showed you in my kind of recent pickups video some of my UKG graded baggies. How nice are those are the displays for those baggies when you compare it to the AFA baggie style? And this is not like an older case. This is how AFA still does it for baggies. It's kind of embarrassing. I mean, these are really nice baggies, and AFA needs to get with the times to be more competitive with how they display baggies graded. CAS has a good case. I really like it. It's kind of double encased, but I still think that UKG has the best case, hands down, without question, for baggies. But anyway, back to the video here. A Star Wars B baggie for Vader, AFA 80, $280. That's a good deal. I mean, I see him sell for that all day long, ungraded. SWD baggie for Chewbacca, AFA 80, $308. I mean, to me, I'd rather have the Vader. I mean, I'd rather have the Vader baggie. I know they're not exactly the same baggie, but to me, I'd rather have the Vader baggie. Here's the SWB baggie. I've got this one for Han Solo. This was AFA 80. I think mine's a UKG 85, but don't quote me. This one sold for $234. Another very good deal. Admittedly lower grade than what I have, but mine's a UKG 85, and I paid a lot more. I paid a lot more than $234. I can tell you that. I think I paid $350, somewhere in that ballpark. But you know, it was a UKG 85. But anyway, that's a pretty good deal there. Luke Skywalker baggie, SWD AFA 80, $203 on that one. This one might be a little overgraded. It's got some holes in the baggie right here. So, you know, that could have happened maybe just jostling inside the case. Not sure, but that one seems a little overgraded to me. A little overgraded. Next up is a ESBA baggie made in China. This is a Han Solo and Hoth outfit. Now, what's interesting is that the Han Solo Hoth, there is no China COO for Han Solo Hoth. There is the PBP, the Spanish Pac, chocolate legs, You've got the Hong Kong and all the different variations thereof. You've got the no COO, but there's no China COO, even though the baggie says made in China. So who knows? It's very possible that it just got mixed up, but I've seen a lot of the figures like that. Like the Zuckus is another one that comes in this baggie. But there's no China COO Zuckus. There's no COO, So anyway, just an interesting tidbit there. This one's got the skinny thumb, which is usually the Hong Kong figure, I believe. I don't think there's a skinny thumb, no COO, but don't quote me. So this is definitely a Hong Kong figure, if I had to guess. Here's the back of it. Let's see if we can find it on the back. So it says, yeah, I guess this is the no COO. So, who knows? I mean, maybe there is a China manufactured Han Hoth, but it's not labeled as such in loose grading. It's either no COO or Hong Kong or some of the Spanish variations. But I don't see the Hong Kong on the legs, but it could be there. It's just hard to read. It could be on that other leg right here, but this one could be a no COO. So I don't know anything about Han Hoth other than I like him. I really want. This is the one I really wanted. This was an AFA 80, sold for $217. Here's the Luke Hoth baggie, ESBD baggie. I've got this one at CAS right now, actually. I paid $175 for mine ungraded. So this one was a good deal. AFA 80, it sold for $203 plus $10 shipping. So I'm going to be in a little bit more into mine than this one, but I think mine will grade higher. I think mine's an 85, but we'll see. This one looks like an 85 to me too. I mean, it looks pretty clean. The only reason mine might not get the 85 is because the figure, the white of the figure degrades really badly inside these baggies. So that might be what's going on with this one. I don't know. But anyway, that $203.50 is a good deal because they usually sell $160 to $175 all day long ungraded for that particular baggie. This is the baggie that came in the Rebel Command Center playset along with the AT-AT Commander, General Veers. So anyway, side note on that one. Nerd alert! Here is a Return of the Jedi H baggie for Luke Jedi. AFA 85, all right? This is an AFA 85 baggie. It sold for $257. That is a bargain. I see them, I mean, we talk about them in either my baggie-focused videos or in my loose complete videos. They go all day long for $200+ ungraded. So to get an AFA 85 Luke Jedi baggie for $257 plus $10 shipping, let's call that, $267. That is a good deal. That is a really, really good deal for a very high grade baggie. This is the made in Taiwan version of Luke Jedi. So good buy on that one. Another seller had some other baggies. I think I had these in my what to buy video. This is an AFA 85 ESBF baggie for the Hoth Rebel Commander, $207.50 on him. The Forlom, this is obviously the mail away Forlom. That one sold for $215.50. Another good deal there. I thought that was a very fair price. AFA 85. This was an AFA 90 SWC baggie for Hammerhead. That one sold for $305, which I thought was a good deal, given that AFA 85s usually sell for more than that. Usually you see AFA 85s for this particular baggie. This is the Sears mail-away baggie or playset baggie. I see AFA 85s all the time go for $350. So this AFA 90 sold for $305. And the pictures were not great. I mean, they look very blurry. The photographer took these photos underwater while wearing snorkeling gear and through a telescope. I mean, that's how bad these photos are. So I think he's doing himself a disservice. That should have sold for $400 plus in my mind all day long. And then the last one this seller had is the Return of the Jedi multi-pack. I think it was a JCPenney multi-pack. I'm not sure. It says Department Store 3-pack. So it's probably Montgomery Ward or JCPenney. It's a 3-pack with Wicket, Tebow, and Paplu. So pretty awesome. It's mint in sealed box. I mean, I don't know why anyone would want this sitting on their shelf, but if you're baggy focused, I guess you want them all. Collect them all. I mean, the packaging's cool and everything, but I'd rather have the baggies displayed next to the package, loose graded, in my opinion. But that one sold for $685, so big number on that one. $685 on 29 bids. That closed on November 20th. But yeah, I mean, the packaging's really cool, but if you could kind of open the box and then have the baggies displayed next to it all in one case, kind of like with the Max Rebo band, I think it would look really cool. But AFA 85 for $685 plus $10 shipping. So anyway, I went off on a few little tangents there talking about the 3 grading companies, but I've gotten a lot of comments on those here lately. So I just thought I'd intersperse my opinions as we looked at some of these loose graded gems that sold on eBay. Thanks as always for watching. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll be back soon.